Hi guys, today we are painting some birds. The first thing that I did here was start with like a light wash of acrylics because just to get rid of the white, and then I started adding the first initial layers, just like the base colors essentially of all of them. I think that you can see on the kind of like hawk, I think it's a hawk. I started with like a lot of kind of like orangish kind of colors, and I just kind of like laid down those initial kind of colors to then like later build up on. And I did that for basically all of them, laying down the foundation for everything else. That's kind of like how I start most paintings, especially in acrylics, because it's super easy to layer acrylics. I like working in this way where it's just kind of like adding layer and then another layer and then like just layers. I think that that's for me, it's a very efficient way to build up the layers and to like have more like depth or something. I don't know. I think like that it's easier to, for me, like I'm not really big on detail, like getting the initial idea across. Like I don't really like adding so much detail. Working on this was like really good practice for me of like mixing darker colors, because it's very difficult. Like I found it kind of hard to get the exact kind of colors that I wanted, because obviously if you want to make a painting that looks a little bit more realistic, like a little bit more close to what you would see in real life, like a little bit in the sense of kind of like colors, you're not going to paint the bird pure black. You're not going to do that. And you can't also, like for me at least, I've always been given the advice, and like also like for me personally, in my experience, I've always kind of like felt like mixing black with different colors, it never really gets you what you see in real life, if that makes sense. So I kind of had to try to like mix up different shades of like purples and like darker greens and blues to kind of get this look of black, but it's not really black, if you know what I'm saying. Like I was using, the whole time that I was making this painting, I was using only red, white, yellow, and blue. For me, it was kind of like difficult to get the exact kind of like color that I wanted. So what I would do is just kind of like mix a really dark purple and then add a little bit of yellow, and then just like add more colors depending on how it looked, because in one of the birds, it was kind of like on one of its wings, it had a little bit of green. I'm assuming because of the grass, the environment, So there I would just like mix a really dark purple and then just add a little bit more blue and yellow to kind of get like a kind of greenish kind of undertone, let's say. I don't really know how to explain it. For me, it was kind of like difficult, and eventually I did have to bring in like I don't know how it's called, because I live in kind of like a Hispanic-y kind of country. So here we call it a different thing, and I don't really know how it's called in English, but it's not pure black, but it's kind of like, I guess that translated to English it would probably be like a natural black, if that makes sense. So it's not really a black, it's more of like a really dark green, if that makes sense. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. But yeah. So yeah, essentially like I was just kind of like messing around with those kinds of mixes of colors, kind of trying to see what I could get, see like the closest that I could get to like a natural black, and let's say like a black that you would see in real life. Because when you see like animals that have, black, let's say what looks like black on them, it's never really black. Like it looks black, but just with the thing of the environment and everything, just so many things like affect the color and just make it not black. And if you want to make something look more realistic, like I did here with these paintings, I wanted to go for just kind of capturing the environment that these birds were in, if that makes sense. Kind of just like trying to make it look like they actually I don't know how to explain it, but like just trying to follow the reference. And I didn't paint any environments in it. I just painted the bird, but I did want it to look like almost like you ripped the bird out of the environment, but like still with the environment. I don't know if that makes sense. That probably doesn't make sense, but yeah. Mixing these colors was kind of fun, to be honest. Like, I think it was like a really nice practice of just mixing like darker colors to look like black, but not actually black. Now with the thing of the feathers and stuff, painting that stuff for me is always really complicated because I'm very lazy. I think that all of my sketchbook kind of like paintings that I do in my sketchbook, they will always normally be under like 2 hours, or like maybe max three-ish hours, maybe 4, maybe, but like I really doubt it, because the thing is that even like recording, now that I'm like recording myself when I'm painting these, the videos aren't that long. Like, they're never that long. So I just like to paint really quickly. So for me, like, painting stuff like feathers is kind of hard because it's kind of easy to get lost in like all the details and all the little things of the feathers. I don't know how you call it. For me, it was kind of like difficult to kind of like capture that, if that makes sense. And I just think, I don't know, I just feel like for me, the way that I personally like to do art, it's never really about copying it to like the exact like freaking feathers, or like the exact placement of like, I don't know, the beak or the eye, I don't know. Like, obviously for me, I like to keep it looking semi-realistic, but I don't want it to look like super detailed. I kind of just want to paint my interpretation of it, if that makes sense. Kind of just like, I don't know, you know, kind of just taking the base colors and kind of just, like I said, like in layers, and just kind of like making blobs, and like the blobs are like the feathers, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, you know, just little paint strokes here and there to kind of like show you like a little hint of a feather, but not like the actual feather. That's how I've always kind of painted. Kind of tried to like just like keep it simple, just kind of with like blobs. Like, I would just like, they were literally just blobs, like paint strokes here and there, you know, random stuff. Like, I remember that with one of the birds, I think the one that's in like the bottom left corner, I kind of just like, with the highlights, I kind of just scribbled it on like really quickly. Not really so much like precise brush strokes and stuff like that, just kind of like basically just playing with paint until it looked well. Kind of like, that's what I was doing. I was just kind of like scribbling and doing like that stuff. I don't know, I just felt like these paintings, for me, I just kind of wanted to get it done quickly. Like, not I don't know if that makes sense, because I don't want to sound like I was kind of rushing it. I feel like that's just always how I paint. Like, I always paint quickly. I always want to paint quickly. That's why acrylics is like the best medium for me, because they dry so quickly, and for me that's just how I want things to be. I'm very impatient, so like for me, I don't know, I feel like that's the way that I've been painting for a long time, and I think with these birds, I think you can kind of see that, of just kind of like the scribbles, the blobs, all of that stuff, kind of like not things that are so like precise. Then with the beaks, and like with the kind of hawk thingy, with like the white part with the feathers, I think that part, it also kind of shows better. Kind of like, I was just kind of like scribbling and like doing random stuff and just hoping it would look well, and like I think it looked fine. Like, it looked pretty good. I don't know if I really loved these paintings, but I don't think they're bad, but I enjoyed painting them. I also think it was like really fun to try to capture like the flow of it, because like some of them, not like, I think that there was only one bird that was like flying, was like actively flying in the reference, and I don't know if I did the best job at like capturing the movement of the bird flying, but I thought it was fun to like try to get that. Hope you guys enjoyed watching me paint these birds. I ended up kind of like not really liking the end result. I mean, it was fine. I don't think it's one of my best things, but oh well. I did like, at least I liked painting it. Like, I liked the process of painting it. I don't know. I'm not really sure about how I feel about the end result. I right now, currently, I kind of don't like it, but like, I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, I think this is the end of the video. Yeah, and one more thing. I'm so sorry for the mic, because it wasn't the mic, but just like I'm in a different place right now, and the whole everything, there's a bunch of cars everywhere, and I'm pretty sure that you can hear it throughout pretty much all of the video. So I'm sorry about that. Hopefully when I record my next video, I won't be in the same place, and I'll have a more quiet, you know, not as noisy kind of place to record. But yeah, I'm sorry about that.